Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another action-packed edition of Review of Honor, where we cover everything that happens in a Ring of Honor ring. We had a very interesting return this week, as well as a main event that can only be described as chaotic. But guys, I can't talk about any of that stuff without my tag team partner here on Review of Honor. You guys know who he is. It's the three-time baby making champ. This is Ness. Sir, how are you doing this evening?
I'm doing great this evening, and I love the fact that you described the return as interesting, because that was actually the word that I was going to use as well. Interesting, to say the least.
Yeah, it definitely was. It was I don't know. I wasn't really expecting it in that way, but that's the name of the game. You got to reinvent yourself. You gotta keep changing who you are to be able to make sure that you are keeping everybody engaged. And the way that we know that we are keeping you guys engaged is when you hit that like button, you comment, you share, and of course subscribe. This is a big week for us because we have officially crossed the 1,000 subscriber mark. You guys have heard me say it. We're on the march to 1,000. But here we are. But we're not stopping there. We are continuing onwards. So as always, we appreciate everything you guys do when it comes to sharing us with your friends, your family, and your fellow wrestling fans. So guys, let's get straight into it. Today on Ring of Honor, we kind of start with a recap of the interesting events. There's that word again. Interesting events of last week and how the show ended with the Beer City Bruisers and the OGK and the kind of shocking turn that we saw happen right before our eyes. And Quinn catches up with the perpetrator of that breaking beer bottle, and we don't really get a lot of answers. We get a little bit more questions really now about whether or not the Beer City Bruisers could potentially have a breakup, whether there could be some kind of divide between the two of them when it comes to how they're going to handle their business in the ring, and whether it will be honorable or without honor. That's something that we shall see. What do you before we get to the matches, what do you think could happen with that potential Beer City Bruiser breakup?
Yeah, that's where I was going with it as well. It kind of seems like that's probably what's going to happen. Beer City Bruiser is just like, I'm tired of this shit, tired of playing second fiddle to guys. He doesn't want to be anyone's bitch, so to speak, per his words. And Brian Malonis is just like, man, this is not how we do things. Known these guys for 16 years, he says, and they're good friends. With Vincent getting to the head of Beer City Bruiser, that's out the window at the moment. They're no longer friends. There are no friends in wrestling. So that's the mindset that Bruiser has at the moment. Malonis is conflicted because he has his tag team partner just cracked the bottle over the head of a friend of his, so like, what can they do? Where can we go with this at the moment? So it's kind of it's going to, like, again, interesting. That is that word that's gonna be reoccurring, because who knows what's going to happen at the moment.
Yeah, I liked how Bruiser put it when he said, there are no friends. Either you got my back or you don't. And it was just, he's putting the ball in Malonis' court. Are you gonna have my back or not? So I'm gonna see how all of this shakes out. Especially because, if you think about it, if they were to try to do like a 6-man match, the Kingdom don't have TK O'Ryan. They don't have anybody else that they normally would have. You could now have Malonis fill that spot as Bruiser sides with Vincent. But
Yeah.
we'll have to pay attention to see what happens there. But in our first match, we have Tracy Williams taking on the world famous CB, the former Cheeseburger, and in a pure wrestling rules match. Now, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. Let's just get into it.
I'm not gonna lie. Cheeseburger never really struck me as an important person or like somebody who had a big feel about him when it comes to Ring of Honor. Now, maybe that's a knock against his appearance. He's got that scrawny, wiry, just I need to eat a cheeseburger, which is where that name came from with Charlie Haas. That look about him, right? And I guess maybe he has, but people's metabolisms are different. He did not really gain a lot of body weight as he got older. He still is that scrawny person. And he kind of was treated as such. Like, they tried to talk him up a bit in the promo videos. Yes, he has done multiple tours of Japan. Yes, he has been at Final Battles. But Cheeseburger's never really been the guy. He's never even been close to the guy. So this kind of rebrand, if you will, is going to be something that we want to see. It's something to say, what is he going to do different than he's done in the past? And maybe it is just a coat with braids. Maybe that's just really like what the difference is. I don't know. But he comes out, and Tracy Williams, has respect for him, right? Like, Tracy Williams is saying, we give opportunity to people who have not received opportunity, but you got to earn it. You got to earn it in this match. And I got to say, he kind of made Tracy Williams earn that win. He really did, to the point that for one of the rope breaks, Tracy Williams had to use his teeth to get to the rope. And that was, those are the kind of things that make you stand out. Those are the kind of things that make you different. That level of physicality with your opponents, that's what's going to make people talk about you differently, right? As opposed to just the guy that Bully Ray beats the crap out of over and over again until Flip Gordon makes the save. Like, that's what you were before. Now you're the guy who can make Tracy Williams bite down on the ropes like he's Tomohiro Ishii to try to get you off of him. So, I mean, maybe for what it is, it's a good starting point. Well, I guess that's kind of the where I'm looking at it. Like, I'm willing to give them the benefit of the doubt. It is an interesting way that he's coming to the ring now. Just like there's a level of swagger. Like, somebody gave him the, like he was a cheeseburger, but then they were like, look, here's the McDonald's Big Mac sauce. Like, this is what you need. And he's like, oh, now I'm the world famous CB, guys. So maybe it's a good starting point. I gave this match about two and a quarter. I'd say it was where I fell, 2.25, maybe 2.5. I liked the visual of the biting of the rope. I will say I like the fact that he made Tracy Williams use 2 rope breaks, but I think almost if he had gotten the win instead, it would have pushed the match a little bit more, because right now it just seems as though it's, you put new paint on an old car, but the engine's not that great. So I'd love to hear your thoughts, Ness.
I love that analogy right there, because I give Cheeseburger his props. I'm not calling the world famous CB, excuse me. Even they were still calling him Burger during the match. All right, the look, it's not doing it's not doing it for me. I'm not even gonna lie. Like, okay, now you're wearing this fur coat, a cowboy hat, and you got braids with beads on them. That doesn't, whatever. It's not doing anything. Like, you're still Burger, unfortunately. Like, he didn't get any bigger. He's not putting on any muscle. He still looks exactly the same. But I just think that his confidence is up there. So I'll give him the benefit of the doubt on that he feels like a new person. So therefore, that's where the whole new attitude is coming from. And even though I'm on the outside looking in, your self-esteem is very important, especially in sports, entertainment, however you feel about yourself. That just takes everything. It takes over for everything right then and there. So I'll subside on that. Now, in the ring, the actual content for the match, that actually did surprise me, because he was able to hang with Tracy Williams, and even made him use, I think he made him use all his rope breaks, actually. I think he used them all.
He might have, yeah.
Which I didn't see that coming whatsoever. I figured it was just going to be, maybe a little bit of CB having somewhat of a little bit of a showing, but mainly it being Tracy Williams. But no, he was actually hanging with Tracy Williams, especially. I'll compare him just because of the body size, but he's a few inches shorter. He reminded me of Zack Sabre Jr., that skinny guy that just has that slim, frail body, but he can move and he can just throw these submissions on you and these holds and slip out of submissions. My son just walked in there. Say hi. Say hello. Hi. Now you gotta go. With some candy. Yeah. So he does the submissions and he's getting out of the moves, and he was really hanging with Tracy Williams, one of the top guys in not just the company, in my opinion, just definitely one of the cornerstones of this pure division. And also, I want to add to that something that Caprice Coleman said on commentary, that he feels as though, and it kind of actually showed during the match, that world famous CB kind of fits better for the pure division, but because of like the way his body size and the way that the actual style of these matches now, it's better for him. You throw him in the ring with a guy that's just going to punch on him and, brawl and beat him up, it's one-sided. He's going to lose. Now you throw him in a pure style match where you can't do some of these things, and it's all about like pure style submissions and holding and transitions and things of that nature. He showed that it works better for him in this style. So I'm actually can't believe I'm saying this, but I'm actually looking forward to possibly another world famous CB match in the pure division. Because even though he didn't win, but all it takes is just that showing. You just go out there, show what you can do, get eyes on you, and I think that this would be a good look for him in the future. The overall aspect of the character, the look and the get up, whatever, I can do without it. It is what it is. But I actually have to give CB his props for actually going out there and not only just being or reverting back to being a novelty act, but he actually just stepped his game up a lot for this match. And again, in there with a guy like Tracy Williams, that's a lot. Like that you actually have to go out there and you have to wrestle. Like you have to do this to thrive in this pure division, in my opinion. So he definitely showed up. Again, the look and everything, it is what it is, but I got to give him his props, man. He definitely hung with Tracy Williams, and it was a good match. I also gave it 2.25.
Yeah, I liked one of the things that Caprice said on commentary, where he said that Gresham may be the octopus, but CB's showing himself to be the snake. And I like that. Just to talk about the imagery of, with like a boa constrictor. That's what came to mind when he said that. Constrictors, they're going to wrap around you, and they're going to put the holds on you, and that's how they're going to beat you. I think it'll be really good, because you're talking about seeing him in a pure title match. I think it would be really great to see him up against somebody like Josh Woods, because Josh Woods has that level of physicality, and he's more of that puncher style. Yeah. And he does have submissions as well, but he's got that ground and pound punching style. I want to see that meshed up against Cheeseburger saying, all right, if CB saying, if you're going to try to hit me, let's see if you can actually hit me when I'm putting you in all these different holds. So yeah, I agree with you. Seeing him in the pure division will be something interesting to see going forward. But, part of me was saying, okay, this is a way to introduce him or reintroduce him to all of us. But why a pure rules match? And then the main event happened, and it made so much sense. Because this was a 8-man tag match. We have La Faction Ingobernal, Dragon Lee, La Bestia del Ring, and Roosh with Flip Gordon, who is the #1 contender to the world title. So that part alone, I'm just like, all right, let's see what happens. Versus PCO, both of the Briscoes, and Brody King. So interestingly, there's a lot to unpack here.
Yeah.
We start with the fact that Brody King's pissed because he feels his one-on-one opportunity, his loss was tainted by what happened with La Faction and Gobernal. Absolutely 100% true. We have PCO, the man who beat Roosh for the title and then lost the title back to Roosh, involved in this match. We have the Briscoes, who come out separately to different music. And then we have the current number one contender in Flip Gordon, who comes out during this match and is forced to team with people who do not have his best interests at heart. And when I say that, I mean to say that if he gets knocked out of the ring, they grab him and throw him back in. They don't even bother to try to help him. They don't tag themselves in. Absolutely nothing of the sort. And a part of you is just like, that makes a lot of sense. It really does. Because this guy wants to take the world title from our leader. So why would we help? We would want him to be softened up. Makes perfect sense. But they're still businessmen. And they know they want to win. So whenever Flip looks like he's going to get pinned, that's when they jump in. Now, eventually, yeah.
Yeah, it's smart. Just like, well, hey, man, makes sense.
But and also it makes sense also because then Brody King can be like, well, I beat you in an 8-man tag match. I should also be involved for this world title. But eventually, this match breaks down into complete and utter chaos. There are chair shots. There are people being thrown into barricades. There is wires being used on people as a weapon, which I was just like, okay, that's interesting. Didn't see that coming. There's just chaos all around the ring, and it plays into the narrative perfectly because part of we were talking about this last week about spinning plates and how do you remind us that at Final Battle in December 2 months ago now that we saw this stare down between LFI and the Foundation. How do we get back to that? How do we remind people? Very simple. We're going to show LFI completely destroying the ringside area, completely violating any semblance of a code of honor, and then we're going to show you that backstage, Foundation is watching. And all it took was Jonathan Gresham just like looking over at Jay Lethal and just going, "This is not honorable." And it's like, "Oh shit." This is about to get very interesting, to use that word again. But the match itself, I don't know. Because of just the chaotic nature, because of the fact that Flip was in there for just way too long, for the purpose of getting across the point that they wanted to get, very well done. The match itself, like from a mechanical standpoint, I probably give this one another 2.25, maybe 2.5 tops. But I just like the overall point of what the match was trying to accomplish. I thought that was knocked out of the park. But Ness, tell me your thoughts on the match, Foundation, watching the screens, and just the idea of, oh wait, this plate is still spinning. This is gonna happen.
Yeah, I think that plate is starting to pick up a little bit more speed than from the last episode of our show. Overall, I'm gonna take a page out of my Blunt Impact Joints and Jabronis partner Chris G. I'm going to give this not a star rating, but just one word. I'm going to go with chaotic. This match was chaotic. The fact that also let's throw this into perspective as well. We have PCO and Brody King teaming together against their former team that will not be named because they still won't say the name.
And there was that one moment when Brody had Flip in the corner and he was just like, I've been waiting to do this.
And then he just chops him. So all these guys, okay, yeah, we'll say it. They were all teaming on Villain Enterprises. They speak about it for a quick brief moment, but like they don't want to talk about it, obvious reasons, so they just keep it moving. But yeah, that's another aspect of it that I find extremely interesting. Again, LFI just feeding Flip Gordon to the wolves, man. Like it was like a lumberjack match. These guys were just out there. They would jump off the ring. He couldn't buy a tag to get somebody else to come in the ring after a while. So I actually like, again, the match itself till it started breaking down. I enjoyed it. I do think that Flip was in there way too long, but again, I get it. He has a shot at the world title in his back pocket. So of course, LFI thinking, yeah, we're not going to help this guy out. We're going to let him get his ass kicked because he wants the shot at my title. You know, like I'm not going to help him. So that made a lot of sense. Also, once it started breaking down, then it took too long for Todd Sinclair to like come to the no contest. Like guys was getting hit with chairs, getting hit with wires. Like it was just so much stuff going on. And then it took like, I want to say like a good 5 to 10 minutes for Todd Sinclair. All right, now I'm going to throw the match out. Like in my opinion, or what I thought was going to happen after that first chair shot, and he's just standing there watching it happen. And then the wires getting slapped over. Like it's just all this stuff was going on. And I'm just like, all right, so you're just going to let the match keep going? Oh, you are? Okay. So then after a while, guys are just brawling on the outside. He's like, all right, now it's too much. It's too much now. These guys are just regularly fighting. It's too much. The chair shot wasn't enough. the going through the barricade wasn't enough. The wires wasn't enough, but you guys just brawling. I've had it up to here now. But other than that little gripe of just that, the overall storytelling, again, Amy Rose, that's another thing that I wanted to point out, that Amy Rose on commentary, she's like, oh, we do what we want. We're not like Goody Two Shoes, Jonathan Gresham. Once she said that, I said, all right, they have to do something. They're either going to come out or something's going to happen where the foundation is going to be involved in this some way, somehow. And again, once everything breaks down at the end of the match, they show them in the back, and they're just disappointed, and I want to say upset, but they're disgusted. They're all about honor. They're all about the code of honor. They're all about the bright spots of Ring of Honor, and not this doing whatever we want, just underhanded tactics, anything of that nature. That is not the way of the foundation. That is not the way of being honorable in Ring of Honor. So it kind of seems like they use PCO, Brody King, and the Briscoes to further the point between, the different ends of the spectrum where we have LFI that they're going to do whatever they want. They're ungovernable. You can't govern them whatsoever. And then we have the foundation where, they just follow the rules and play by the book, and they don't do anything outside of what is honorable. And it just seems like those two ends of the spectrum, and then in the middle you have the Briscoes, PCO, and Brody King. So I actually like the overall story. Is just great. I love the way they're going with it. Again, they're not doing too much to keep the story going. It's just like sometimes you overbook things. I think that this made sense because, again, Brody King has issues with Roosh and LFI. PCO has issues with Roosh and LFI. The Briscoes just don't like anybody half the time. So it's just like they can fight whoever, whenever they want. So it all makes sense, and it's all building up. I just want to see if they're going to continue with Brody King, PCO, and the Briscoes within the storyline, or are they just going to move them out of the way because, the end game is LFI versus the foundation. We know that that's where they're going with it. So, but I kind of like the fact that they threw these other guys in here because now it can go another direction. They're still honorable, but they like to they can get to the point where LFI goes. Like they can wrestle and follow the code of honor and things of that nature, like the foundation, but they can also get down and dirty like LFI. So I don't know. I want to see where it goes, man. Like I'm waiting for the next episode where they actually touch on all of this. So overall, I liked it. It was chaotic. It broke down, but like it made sense in the essence of everything that's going on between the two factions and then just a group of guys that will like to fight you. So I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed just the whole overall aspect of the story.
And then you know who's gonna come out of nowhere?
Yeah.
Shane Taylor.
Yeah.
Shane Taylor's just waiting.
So that's it.
Just waiting. Just waiting.
Too. Man, it's a lot. I gotta give it to Ring of Honor, man. They're definitely hitting on all cylinders with these stories.
Yeah, especially because they do have a relatively limited roster. So their ability to keep everything moving and keep all these storylines moving. And I mean, we still have I'm going to be interested to see whether or not there is a team that, goes to the Ring of Honor management and says, well, you wanted to strip Bandito, Flamita, and Rey Horus of those 6-man tags and give them to Shane Taylor. Shane Taylor said no, so what are you going to do about him? Like, there's got, either that or they know that Bandito, Flamita, and Rey Horus are coming back, and if those 3 come back, then this whole, all of this is just going to get split wide open. So that's something to really look forward to. This was the first match. I was just like, what is going on? And then the second match, I said, you know what? The first match now makes sense because we have Tracy Williams talking about the foundation, giving people opportunities, and Cheeseburger's trying to take CB's trying to take advantage of this opportunity. He's not able to get the job done, but he does it in the right way. And the foundation are like, that's great. Now you have this main event. If you think about it, LFI, I mean, granted, they have the world title and the television title, but they're being given the opportunity of the main event. And they're not putting their best foot forward. They're cheating to try to win. And they're doing underhanded tactics against Flip. And just poor Flip. Just at one point I think it was PCO's going for a dive outside on the 4 of them are there. And then they're just like, no, here's Flip. And they all get out of the way.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was just a chaotic but interesting episode of Ring of Honor for sure.
The one part I knew this exactly what's going to happen. They pull out the table, they lay Roosh on the table. I said, PCO's gonna go off the top rope and he's gonna go through the table and he's not gonna hit Roosh whatsoever. And that's exactly what happened. And I don't know what is up with PCO, man. I think he loves to do this to himself.
That or he hates tables.
Yeah, it's like it's either him flipping through a table or him flipping on the apron. So I'm like, yeah, that guy's back. Oh man, I don't even know how he still has a back at this point. If it's not like demolished, but hey, I don't know, man. He's not human, so
yeah. Oh, he is. He is definitely not human. But guys, our time today is drawing to a close. Thank you once again for tuning into this week's edition of Review of Honor. We don't know. We have no idea where Ring of Honor is going to be going because they have so many different avenues. We were talking last week about spinning plates and how they're going to keep things moving. And I even think last week we were talking about how they're going to get LFI and Foundation back into gear. And that's exactly what they did this week. So what they're going to do next week, no idea, but we do know that we will be covering it and we will be here with you to talk about it and review and give you all of our thoughts and opinions on the matches. But until next time, Ness, tell the fine people where they can find you.
You guys can follow me on Twitter at skinny_Kravitz. You can also follow me on Instagram at skinny__Kravitz. And you can catch me on the True Hill Heat YouTube channel. I am one half of Blunt Impact and Joints and Jabronis with my man Chris G. We form the Pie Hills. Obviously, you can catch me on Review of Honor with my man StatKing, the man of 1,004 numbers. I pop up on all the roundtables most of the time. And you can listen to my illustrious voice on True Toxicity. Yeah, I like throwing that in there. Yeah.
And as always, guys, you can catch me on this is Review of Honor, but you can catch me on Dark Power talking about AEW Dark, MLW Fusion, And you can catch me in our Facebook group having fun interactions and debates with you guys that I probably should not be getting into. But until next time, guys, on behalf of myself, on behalf of the three-time baby-making champ, it is wonderful as always to see you guys. It's wonderful as always to spend time with you. Until that next time, take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Peace.